Welcome. Thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Wednesday, July 13, 2022. For today's editorial, pending EPR Law undermines environmental goals. If President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. does not move to veto Senate Bill 2425, the practice of extended producer responsibility or EPR on plastic packaging waste bill, it will lapse into law. Allowing this to happen will result in the continued, virtually unchecked production of plastic and other waste, and deal a severe and possibly irreparable setback to the Philippines' environmental management objectives. To be sure, the proposed law was indeed conceived with the best of intentions to combat the Philippines' chronic waste problem. Those intentions are a most welcome development in the ongoing drive to significantly reduce and ideally eliminate the unsustainable use of plastics in the Philippines. The bill passed by Congress is also praiseworthy for acknowledging the role of producers in creating plastic waste and their fundamental responsibility to manage it. But while we might laud the attempt by Congress to address this critical issue, we certainly cannot endorse the result of that effort. Senate Bill 2425 does not hold the producers of plastic waste, manufacturers and users of packaging primarily, substantially responsible in a manner that compels them to find ways to reduce the use of plastic in the first place, which is the ultimate objective. The solutions the bill proposes for the management of plastic waste are even more troubling, allowing disposal and recycling technologies that involve incinerating or melting plastics, which are potentially even more environmentally harmful than doing nothing. Given the glaringly obvious flaws in the proposed EPR law, we have to wonder whether environmental experts were properly consulted or consulted at all in the crafting of the legislation. While EPR may be a new concept for the Philippines, it is certainly not a novelty. In other parts of the world, such as Europe, similar frameworks have been in place for nearly 30 years. That in itself is a red flag. EPR is a proactive approach, but the reality has been that it has had at best modest results that are nowhere near reversing or slowing the creation of new plastics. Globally, only about 9% of all plastic is recycled in any fashion, and in countries with robust EPR programs such as Germany, plastic recycling is less than 30%. The different ways in which plastic can be recycled are problematic as well, because only one of those forms, repurposing an existing plastic product for a similar use, does not create an additional negative environmental impact. The commercially preferred forms of plastic recycling, which are the ones implicitly promoted by Senate Bill 2425, including using plastic as fuel for cement kilns, are so-called waste-to-energy facilities, or remelting and recasting it into new products all produce harmful emissions and some amount of chemical and solid waste pollution. Another significant problem is that Senate Bill 2425 is limited in scope. Focusing on packaging is perhaps reasonable, but narrowing that to only plastic is insufficient. Plastic is the biggest problem, but it is not the only one. Broadening the EPR concept to include other materials such as paper, glass, and metal would force producers and consumers to consider creation of potential waste rather than just its manner of disposal, which is all the proposed EPR law is concerned with. That limited focus is further watered down by excessive flexibility in exactly how plastic is disposed of, and opens the door to false solutions such as plastic offset schemes. The EPR should not be scrapped entirely. As we said, it was created with the right intentions and at least contains some of the ingredients of a plastic reduction and waste management framework that is desperately needed by the Philippines. But as often happens with the first attempts at legislating basically good ideas, just because the lawmakers can recognize a target does not mean they can hit it. In the case of the proposed EPR law, they have missed it badly. Senate Bill 2425 should be vetoed and returned to Congress for an overhaul, guided by consultations with environmental experts. And that's the editorial for Wednesday, July 13, 2022. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to its digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And listen to the Voice of the Times.
Our longest trusted English newspaper since 1898. Now available digitally. Computer. Order the Manila Times Digital Edition. Subscribed. Get the Manila Times Digital Edition for less than 2 pesos and 50 centavos per day when you sign up for 1 year. The Manila Times, news source of choice, trusted since 1898.